The sky above Seattle did not look the way it used to. For weeks, the stars had been gone, covered by a thick, unnatural layer of clouds that the enemy ships brought with them. It was quiet. There were no cars on the streets. No planes flying overhead. The city was a graveyard of steel and concrete, waiting for something to happen. Kenji sat on a crate in the dark room. He rubbed his eyes with the back of his hand. He was tired. He was always tired now. He looked at the radio in front of him. It was a big, old machine, and it hummed softly. The red light on the front of it blinked slowly. That light was the only sign of life in the bunker. "They are still out there," Kenji said softly. He looked up from the radio to the other side of the room. Mina sat on a cot against the far wall. She had a rifle in her hands. It was broken down into pieces, and she was cleaning it with a rag. She did not look up at Kenji. She just kept working, her hands moving fast and sure. She had done this 100 times since the war started. "I know they are out there," Mina said. Her voice was flat. "I can hear them walking in the sky. Those big ships make a sound like a deep breath." Kenji turned a dial on the radio. Static hissed at him. Then, a voice broke through. It was not a human voice. It was smooth, cold, and synthetic. It was the same message the aliens played over and over again. "This is the Velari High Command. To the primitive species of Earth, surrender now. Your weapons are useless. Your resistance is illogical. Submit, and you will be allowed to serve the Empire. Fight, and you will be removed." Kenji hit the power button. The voice cut off. The room went back to being silent. "I hate that voice," Kenji said. "They talk like we are bugs." Mina snapped a piece of the rifle back into place. It made a loud click in the quiet room. "To them, we are bugs. Kenji, look at this." She lifted the rifle up. It was a standard human assault rifle, old technology compared to what the enemy had. "They have shields. They have lasers that can melt tanks. They fly between the stars. We have gunpowder and lead." Kenji stood up and walked to the small window that was covered with a thick metal plate. He pulled the plate back a little bit and looked out. Outside, the city was dark. But high above, he could see them. The Velari ships. They were huge, silver shapes that blocked out the sun. They just hovered there. They did not move. They did not bomb the city. They just waited. "They have been doing this for 3 weeks, Kenji said. "They just float there. Why don't they attack?" "They are waiting for us to give up," Mina said. She stood up and walked over to him. "That is what they do. They scare the enemy, and the enemy surrenders. They think we are scared. They think we are hiding in the dirt, crying for help." Kenji let the metal plate fall back over the window. "They are wrong." Before Mina could answer, a heavy steel door at the end of the room opened. A man walked in. He was wearing a dusty uniform and carried a large bag over his shoulder. It was Leo. He was the logistics officer, which meant he was the one who had to find food, water, and ammo for everyone. It was the hardest job in the army. Leo dropped the bag on a table. It hit the table with a heavy thud. He looked tired. He had dark circles under his eyes, and his hair was messy. He looked at Kenji and Mina. "I just came from the south sector," Leo said. He took a bottle of water from his belt and drank it all in one go. "The mood down there is bad. People are scared. They see the ships, and they think the end is coming. Is the line holding? Mina asked. The line is there, Leo said. But the people are not. We have soldiers, but they are just young men and women. They were teachers and shop workers a month ago. Now they are holding rifles, waiting for aliens to drop from the sky. He shook his head. But I did not just come here to complain. I brought supplies. And I brought Noah. Another man walked in through the open door. He was tall and thin. He had a sniper rifle slung over his back. Noah did not say hello. He just nodded to them and sat down in the corner. He took a knife out of his pocket and started to sharpen a stick. Noah was a quiet man. He did not waste words. How is the food? Kenji asked. Not good, Leo said. We have enough for 3 days. Maybe 4 if we skip meals. The power is failing in the lower levels. If the generators die, we lose the lights and the radios. Then we are truly blind. Kenji looked at the radio again. We need to get a message out. We need to tell the other cities that we are still here. We are here, Mina said. But that is not enough. We need to make them hurt. Leo looked at her. Mina, we cannot hurt them. We shot down 1 drone last week. They did not even care. They just sent another one. Then we shoot down 2, Mina said. Her eyes were hard. They think we are weak. They think this will be easy. They are used to fighting species that give up when they see the big ships. But they do not know humans. Noah spoke from the corner. He did not look up from the stick he was carving. They are coming down soon. Everyone looked at him. What did you say? Leo asked. Noah stopped sharpening the stick. He looked at them with calm eyes. The ships. The movement changed. They are not just hovering anymore. They are lowering landing craft. Near the old stadium. I saw the dust clouds from my perch. Kenji felt a cold feeling in his stomach. You saw ground troops. I saw the shuttles, Noah said. Big, silver doors opening. They are sending in the ground forces. They are tired of waiting. Mina checked her rifle one more time. She pulled the bolt back and let it snap forward. Good. Good, Leo asked, his voice going up. How is that good? They are coming to kill us. It is good because now we can fight them, Mina said. She walked to the door and looked out into the hallway. Hiding in a hole is not fighting. When they come down to the ground, they make mistakes. They get stuck in the mud. They get lost in the buildings. And then, we can find them. Kenji looked at his map on the table. It showed the city. The old stadium was in a wide, open area. It was a bad place for a trap, but it was a good place for an ambush if you knew the streets around it. If they are landing at the stadium, Kenji said, thinking out loud, they will move into the city through the main avenues. They want the tall buildings. They want to set up command posts in the center. We can't let them get to the center, Leo said. Then we stop them at the bridges, Kenji said. He pointed to a spot on the map. There is an old highway interchange here. It is narrow. If we can get there before them, we can block them. We need a team, Leo said. We have a team, Kenji said. You, me, Mina, and Noah. We have enough ammo for a good fight. And we have something they don't have. What is that? Leo asked. Mina smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was a scary smile. We have nothing to lose. They spent the next hour getting ready. They put on their body armor. It was heavy and uncomfortable, but it could stop shrapnel and maybe bullets if they were lucky. They packed extra magazines. They checked their grenades. The atmosphere in the room changed. The fear was still there, but now there was something else. Purpose. They moved out of the bunker and into the dark tunnels underneath the city. The air was damp and smelled like old water and rust. Noah led the way. He moved like a ghost. His boots made no sound on the concrete. Kenji followed, carrying the radio backpack. Mina was behind him, her rifle ready. Leo took the back, watching for enemies coming from behind. They climbed up a ladder to the surface. They came out inside a ruined parking garage. The outside world was gray. Smoke rose from buildings in the distance. The sound of the alien ships was louder now. It was a low rumble that shook the ground. They moved through the streets carefully. They stayed in the shadows. They avoided the open roads. The city felt like a dead body. Cars were abandoned in the middle of the street. Windows were broken. Shops were looted. It was sad, but it also made it easier to hide. There was so much debris that a small team could disappear instantly. Noah stopped and held up a fist. They all froze. He pointed to the sky. Through the smoke, a large shape was descending. It was a Villery landing craft. It was shaped like a dagger and glowed with a blue light. It moved slowly, heading toward the stadium. They are fast, Leo whispered. They are also loud, Mina said. We can use that. They reached the highway interchange. It was a mess of broken concrete and twisted metal. Vehicles were piled up everywhere, creating natural barriers. It was the perfect place for an ambush. If the aliens wanted to get to the city center, they had to come through here. Take your positions, Kenji whispered. They spread out. Noah climbed up to the second level of an overpass. He lay down on his stomach and set up his sniper rifle. He had a clear view of the road below. Mina took cover behind a concrete barrier on the right side. She rested her rifle on the top. Leo hid behind a large truck tire on the left side. Kenji stayed in the middle, slightly lower, so he could see everything. They waited. Minutes passed. Then, the ground started to shake. It was a soft vibration at first, but then it got stronger. Here they come, Kenji said over the small radio headset they all wore. First came the drones. They were small, flying robots that hovered above the ground. They had red scanning lights that swept back and forth. There were 4 of them. Hold, Kenji whispered. Then, the main unit appeared. Villery soldiers walked in a perfect line. They were tall, maybe 7 feet high. They wore silver armor that looked like liquid metal. They had helmets that covered their faces completely. They held long, glowing weapons. They did not look left or right. They just marched forward. Behind them, a large mechanical walker walked slowly. It had 4 legs and a big cannon on top. They walked right into the trap. They looked so confident. They looked like they were just going for a walk in a park. They did not scan the rooftops. They did not look behind the cars. They thought Earth was empty. They thought the humans had run away. Kenji watched them. He felt his heart beating fast in his chest. He looked at Noah's position up high. He looked at Mina. She was steady. She was breathing slow and deep. The aliens were in the middle of the kill zone. Kenji Leo's voice was shaky in his ear. Do it, Kenji said. Noah fired first. The sound of the sniper rifle cracked through the air like a whip. The lead Villeray soldier's head snapped back. Blue sparks flew from his helmet, and he fell to the ground. He did not get up. The other aliens stopped. They were confused. They did not know where the shot came from. They looked around. Now, Mina shouted. She opened fire. Her rifle hammered against her shoulder. Bullets slammed into the alien formation. The aliens had energy shields, but Kenji and Harper had figured out something important back at the base. The shields were strong against energy weapons and slow objects. But fast, hard bullets. The shields flickered and failed under the rapid fire. 2 more aliens went down. Leo opened up from the left side, shooting his machine gun. Bullets chipped away at the concrete and pinged off the alien armor. The aliens tried to raise their weapons, but they were trapped. They were in a narrow channel with no cover. The mechanical walker turned its cannon toward Noah. Noah, move! Kenji yelled. Noah rolled to the side just as a blue energy beam blasted the concrete where he had been lying. Dust and smoke exploded into the air. The aliens were shouting now. Their voices were loud and harsh, they were shooting wildly. Blue beams cut through the air, melting cars and concrete. Mina did not stop shooting. She aimed for the legs of the walker. Hit the joints. The joints are weak. Kenji pulled a grenade from his vest. He pulled the pin and threw it as hard as he could. It arced through the smoke and landed right under the walker. Fire in the hole. The grenade exploded. The blast lifted the walker up and tipped it over. It crashed onto its side, its legs waving in the air. The aliens were panicking now. This was not supposed to happen. They were the superior race. They were the masters of the galaxy. But here, in this dirty street on Earth, they were dying. Fall back! The alien commander shouted. Regroup! But there was nowhere to go. The road was blocked. Kenji reloaded his rifle. He looked at the destruction. The smoke cleared a little. The surviving aliens were hiding behind their dead comrades. They were scared. They were looking around with fear. Kenji smiled. He grabbed his radio handset. Harper, come in. This is Kenji. I hear you, Kenji. I heard the shots. Is it true? Did you engage? Harper's voice was excited. We did more than engage, Kenji said. He looked at the silver armor lying on the ground. We hurt them. They are retreating. You are sure? They are running, Harper, Kenji said. Tell the others. Tell everyone in the city. They are not gods. They bleed. They can die. The alien troops were backing away, dragging their wounded. They were leaving their dead. They were leaving the broken walker. Mina stood up from behind her cover. She walked into the middle of the road, right over the broken glass and rubble. She stopped in front of the dead alien commander. She looked down at the silver helmet. You were wrong, she said to the body. Kenji walked up to her. He put a hand on her shoulder. We have to go. They will call for air support soon. Mina nodded, but she did not take her eyes off the alien. Let them come. Let them all come. They gathered their gear and melted back into the shadows of the city. The ambush was over. It was a small fight. In the big picture, it was nothing. But for the first time since the ships arrived, the humans had won. The silence of the city felt different now. It was not a silence of fear. It was a silence of waiting. Noah looked back one last time at the smoke rising from the burning walker. He adjusted his pack and followed the others into the dark. The war had just begun. And the galaxy was watching. The victory at the highway interchange did not bring a parade. There were no medals and no music. The city remained dark and quiet. But the feeling in the air had changed. The fear that had paralyzed the survivors was turning into something else. It was a quiet, cold anger. The aliens, the Velari, were not invincible. They could bleed, and they could die. That knowledge changed everything. In the ruins of a large warehouse on the outskirts of the city, Harper worked under the dim light of a portable lamp. She was not a soldier. Before the war, she was a scientist. She spent her days looking at microscopes and writing reports. Now, she wore a dirty jacket and had grease on her face. She was examining a piece of alien armor that Ethan had brought back from the fight. The armor was smooth and silver, light as a feather, yet stronger than steel. Harper used a small scanner to look at the microscopic structure of the metal. The screen on her scanner flickered with data. "It is amazing," Harper whispered to herself. "The molecular alignment is perfect. It is designed to dissipate heat." Ethan walked into the room, carrying a heavy box of ammunition. He set it down with a loud thud. He was covered in dust and sweat. He looked like he had not slept in days. He had been leading raids on the alien supply lines constantly, never giving them a moment of rest. "Did you find the weakness?" Ethan asked. He walked over to the table, wiping his hands on his pants. "My team is getting tired. We can hit them, but we need to hit them harder." Harper nodded. She pointed to the screen. "Look at this. Their shields are powered by these small energy nodes along the armor. They are calibrated to stop energy blasts and slow-moving projectiles. They expect plasma weapons and heavy rocks." Ethan looked at the screen, though he did not understand all the numbers. "So, what does that mean for us?" "It means they are arrogant," Harper said. "They have optimized for their own technology. They did not expect us to use simple, kinetic weapons. When you shoot them with a railgun or a high-velocity bullet, the shield flickers. It tries to adjust, but the bullet is too fast. It punches through before the shield can react." Ethan smiled. It was a hard smile. "So, we just need to shoot faster." "We need to shoot smarter," Harper corrected him. "We need to modify our weapons. Increase the velocity. Use solid slugs, not explosive rounds. We need to turn our guns into nail guns." She picked up a rifle and handed it to him. "I modified this one. Try it." Ethan took the rifle. He felt the weight. It felt good in his hands. "I will take it on the next run. We found a convoy moving through the mountain pass today. They are taking resources from the mines to their main ship. We are going to hit them." "Be careful, Ethan," Harper said, her voice soft. "The Velari High Command is not stupid. They learn. They will change their tactics." "They can change all they want," Ethan said, tapping the rifle. "We are the wolves in the forest. We know these woods better than they ever will." Meanwhile, high above the earth, in the Velari flagship called the Vindicator, the mood was very different. The bridge of the ship was a masterpiece of clean lines and glowing blue screens. High Exarch Varek stood in the center of the room. He was tall, even for his kind, and wore robes of gold and white. He looked at the large holographic map of the planet. Red dots were appearing all over the map. These red dots represented attacks. Commander Kale, a battle-hardened soldier with scars on his face, stood next to the Exarch. "Exarch, the losses are increasing. We lost a supply convoy in the northern sector." The humans used an ambush. They destroyed 2 walkers and stole the supplies. How? Varek asked. His voice was calm, but there was a hint of irritation in it. They have primitive weapons. They have no air support. How can they destroy our walkers? They do not fight like an army, Kale said. They fight like insects. They strike from the shadows, then they vanish. They use the terrain. They cause rock slides. They blow up bridges. They do not engage in open battle. They are cowards, Varek said, turning away from the map. They hide in the dirt because they know they cannot win. With respect, Exarch, Kale said carefully, they are effective. They are slowing down our mining operations by 30%. And the soldiers, they are starting to worry. There are stories. Stories. Varek looked at the commander with cold eyes. What kind of stories? Stories about Earth ghosts, Kale admitted. The patrols say they hear laughter in the dark. They say the humans are not afraid of death. The troops are afraid to go down to the surface. Varek slammed his hand on the console. Silence this foolishness. We are the Velari Empire. We have conquered thousands of worlds. We will not be scared by ghost stories. Send more troops. Send the heavy tanks. Crush them. Kale bowed his head. As you command. Back on Earth, the sun was beginning to set over the mountain range. The mountains were tall and rocky, covered in pine trees and deep shadows. It was a beautiful place, but now it was a killing ground. Ethan lay on a ledge, hidden by bushes and rocks. Below him, a narrow road wound its way through the mountains. Ethan looked through the scope of his rifle. Below him, the convoy was moving. It was bigger than he thought. There were 5 transport trucks, surrounded by 4 walkers and 24 ground troops. It is a big one, a voice whispered in his ear. It was Noah, the sniper. He was on a higher ledge, looking down. We knew the risks, Ethan whispered back. We need to stop this convoy. They are carrying refined metal. We need that metal. Where is the rest of the pack? Ethan asked. In position, Noah replied. They are waiting for your signal. Ethan took a deep breath. He looked at the modified rifle Harper had given him. Let's see if your science works, Harper, he whispered. He aimed at the lead walker. The crosshair rested on the walker's knee joint. He squeezed the trigger. The gun fired with a sharp crack. The bullet flew through the air faster than sound. It slammed into the walker's knee. There was no explosion, just a shower of sparks. The walker's leg buckled. It twisted at a strange angle and the machine fell, crashing into the side of the mountain. The convoy stopped. Dust rose into the air. The alien soldiers shouted orders. They raised their weapons, looking for the attacker. Now, Ethan said. On the other side of the road, Mina and her team detonated the explosives they had planted earlier. The blast was huge. It lifted the lead transport truck into the air and flipped it onto its side. It blocked the road completely. The convoy was trapped. Go. 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 Ethan shouted. He stood up and ran down the slope, firing as he went. The rest of his team, a group of 10 fighters he called the Wolf Pack, emerged from the trees. They moved fast, shouting and firing their weapons. The Velari soldiers returned fire. Blue beams of energy cut through the trees. The air smelled of ozone and burning wood. But the humans did not stop. They used the trees and rocks for cover. They moved in small groups, covering each other. Ethan fired 3 shots in rapid succession. Each bullet hit a Villery soldier in the chest. The shields flared and died, and the soldiers fell. Harper's modification worked perfectly. The bullets punched right through. The aliens were confused. They were used to enemies who stayed in fixed defensive lines. These humans were swarming. They were everywhere at once. Mina ran towards the overturned truck. She pulled a pin on a grenade and tossed it into a group of aliens trying to regroup. Boom! The grenade exploded, sending shrapnel flying. Focus on the transports. Mina yelled over the noise of battle. Don't let them recover the cargo. A Villery commander, a tall alien with a golden helmet, tried to organize a defense. He fired a weapon that launched small rockets. He took out 2 human fighters. Ethan saw the commander. He aimed his rifle. The commander was fast, though. He saw the muzzle flash and dove behind a rock. Ethan, 3 o'clock. High ground. Noah's voice warned. Ethan looked up. One of the walkers had survived the ambush and was turning its cannon toward him. It was on a ridge above him. Move. Ethan rolled to the side just as a blue beam obliterated the rock he was standing behind. Shrapnel peppered his back. He gritted his teeth and scrambled behind a fallen tree trunk. I need help on this ridge. Ethan shouted. On it, came the reply from Leo. Leo was not a front-line fighter, but he was brave. He was manning a captured heavy machine gun they had mounted on a jeep. He drove the jeep up a rough path, exposing himself to enemy fire. Bullets bounced off the jeep's hood. Leo kept driving. He stopped behind a boulder, jumped out, and aimed the heavy gun at the walker on the ridge. Eat this! Leo screamed. He opened fire. The heavy gun roared. A stream of large bullets hammered the walker. The walker's shield flashed bright blue, then failed. The bullets tore into the machine's metal body. It sparked, smoked, and fell off the ridge, crashing down right in front of Ethan. Ethan did not hesitate. He jumped up from cover and ran toward the alien commander. The commander stood up, firing his pistol. Ethan felt a burn on his arm as a beam grazed him, but he kept running. He tackled the alien. They hit the ground hard. The alien was strong. It tried to throw Ethan off, but Ethan used his momentum. He punched the alien in the helmet, again and again. The metal cracked. Stay down! Ethan yelled. He pulled his combat knife and drove it into the gap in the armor. The alien went limp. Ethan stood up, breathing hard. He looked around. The battle was over. The last few aliens were running away into the woods, disappearing like shadows. The humans did not chase them. They let them go. It was better to let the fear spread. We won! Mina shouted. She kicked a piece of alien debris. We actually won. Ethan looked at the burning trucks and the broken bodies. Check the wounded. Secure the supplies. We leave in 5 minutes. They worked quickly. They took the metal crates, the food, and the ammunition. They even took the weapons from the dead aliens. Then, they vanished into the trees, just like the ghosts the aliens feared. Later that night, back at the warehouse, the mood was celebrating but tired. They were eating real food, taken from the convoy. Kenji was trying to get the radio working again. I have a transmission, Kenji said. It's from the Villery. Everyone stopped eating. They looked at him. Put it on, Ethan said. The radio crackled. The voice was not the calm, synthetic one from before. It sounded angry. Desperate. This is High Exarch Varek of the Velari Empire. To the human resistance forces. Your actions are illogical. You cannot win. We possess superior technology and infinite numbers. Your attacks only delay the inevitable. Surrender now, and we will end this quickly. Ethan walked over to the radio. He pressed the talk button. This is Ethan of the Wolf Pack, he said. His voice was calm. You keep talking about your technology. But we are not fighting your machines. We are fighting you. And you are losing. There was a long silence on the radio. You are primitive insects, Varek spat. We are the ants that ate your lunch, Ethan said. Tell your soldiers to watch the shadows. We are always there. He released the button. The room was silent for a second, and then everyone cheered. It was a quiet cheer, but it was full of hope. Harper walked over to Ethan. That was brave. But he is right about one thing. They do have numbers. This was just one convoy. I know, Ethan said. He looked at the map on the wall. But today, we proved they can bleed. And if they can bleed, we can kill them. He looked out the window. The alien ships were still in the sky, blocking the stars. But they didn't look so big anymore. They looked like targets. The galaxy was watching, but the humans were just getting started. The wolves were awake, and they were hungry. The war had entered its third month. The sky was no longer just dark, it was stained with the smoke of burning cities. The Velari, frustrated by their inability to crush the resistance on the ground, had decided to escalate the conflict. They began glassing operations. They targeted small towns and military bases with orbital beams, turning the land into black glass and dust. High Exarch Varek believed that fear would break the human spirit. He thought that if he destroyed enough homes, the humans would stop fighting and beg for mercy. He was wrong. The destruction did not bring surrender. It brought a cold, hard silence. The humans stopped shouting. They stopped running. They just waited in the dark with anger in their hearts. In an abandoned subway station deep beneath the city, Alex sat in front of a wall of screens. The air was humid and smelled of ozone and burnt wires. Alex was not a soldier. He was a hacker. Before the invasion, he worked in an office, managing computer servers. Now, he was the eyes and ears of the resistance. He wore a hoodie and glasses, and his fingers danced across a keyboard at an incredible speed. Sophie stood behind him, watching the screens. She was a doctor, but now she worked as a field surgeon and a strategist. She looked tired. Her hands were stained with antiseptic that she could not wash off. Report from the West Coast, Sophie said softly. They hit a town called Oak Ridge this morning. There is nothing left. Alex stopped typing for a moment. He closed his eyes. I know. I saw the satellite feed. Why are they doing this? They want the planet. If they keep burning it, there will be nothing left to conquer. They are trying to scare us, Sophie said. She leaned against the console. They think we are children who need to be punished. Alex opened his eyes and looked at the screen. A red light was blinking on a map of the upper atmosphere. They are scared too, Sophie. Look at this. They have moved their comms buoy. It is closer to their flagship. What does that mean? It means they are talking to each other. A lot. They are confused. They cannot understand why we are not surrendering. Alex typed a command. I am going in. Into the buoy, Sophie asked, surprised. I thought their encryption was impossible to break. It is impossible if you try to break it with math, Alex said. But I am not using math. I am using their own arrogance. They reset the passwords every day, but the reset algorithm follows a pattern based on their commander's birth date. It is a cultural thing. They think no one knows it. Alex hit the enter key. The screens flashed green. Streams of alien code scrolled down the monitors. I am in, Alex whispered. I can hear their command chatter. He turned up the volume. A voice filled with static came through the speakers. It was the Villery High Command. Sector 7 is secured. The biologicals are contained. No, wait, reports of movement in Sector 4. It is the ghosts again. Requesting air support. We are taking fire from everywhere. Alex smiled. They are paranoid. They are seeing ghosts in every shadow. Can you use this? Sophie asked. I can, Alex said. I can't take down their shields, but I can make them blind. I can feed them fake GPS signals. I can make their drones fly into buildings. I can make them think an army is attacking where there is nothing but empty fields. Do it, Sophie said. We need every advantage we can get. While Alex worked in the digital shadows, the physical war continued. The humans had adopted a new tactic they called the Ghost Protocol. They learned to fight without being seen. They learned to move through the ruins without making a sound. Outside the city, in the rain and mud, Jordan led his team through a dense forest. It was raining hard. The water washed away the dirt and the blood, but it could not wash away the tension. Jordan wore a cloak made of gray synthetic fabric. He had painted his face with mud to hide his skin heat. His team moved like wraiths. They did not walk in a line. They spread out, stepping from rock to root, avoiding the mud. Stop, Jordan whispered into his headset. His team froze instantly. They were invisible in the gray brush. Through the rain, Jordan saw the enemy. A Villery patrol unit was walking along a dirt road. There were 6 of them. They had large backpacks and scanners. They were looking for humans. Their scanners are active, Noah whispered. Noah was with Jordan's team today. He lay on a high branch, looking down through his sniper scope. If we move, they will see us. We don't need to move, Jordan said. We need to disable them. He pulled a small device from his belt. It was a magnetic EMP trap. He signaled to Mina, who was on the other side of the road. She nodded. Mina threw a stone. It hit a metal can on the road. Clang. The alien patrol stopped. They raised their weapons, pointing at the sound. Show yourselves. The lead alien shouted in broken human language. You cannot hide forever. While they were distracted, Jordan tossed the EMP trap. It landed right in the middle of their circle. It beeped once. The trap activated. A wave of electromagnetic energy exploded outward. It wasn't loud, but it was effective. The aliens' armor locked up. Their weapons shut down. Their scanners went black. The aliens were stuck inside their own suits, heavy and blind. Now, Jordan said. He and his team moved from the trees. They didn't shoot. They didn't need to. They pulled out knives and silenced pistols. They moved quickly, taking down the confused aliens. It was over in seconds. 6 Villery soldiers lay on the ground, unconscious. Strip the weapons, Jordan ordered. Take the batteries. Leave the rest. They worked fast. They took the valuable energy cells from the alien armor and vanished back into the forest before the rain could wash away their footprints. The Velari soldiers were terrified. They told stories of the Earth ghosts back at their base. They said the humans could turn invisible. They said the humans could control the weather. The fear was spreading through the ranks. The Velari were used to fighting enemies they could see and predict. This enemy was like smoke. Every time they grabbed a handful, it just slipped through their fingers. Back in the subway station, Alex was sweating. He had been typing for hours. "Sophie," he said. "I found something big." "What is it?" "They are moving their flagship. They are bringing it lower over the continent. They are planning a massive strike. They want to hit the capital city to end the war once and for all." Sophie looked at the map. "If they hit the capital, millions will die." "I know," Alex said. "But their move is making them vulnerable. To lower the ship, they have to turn off their long-range scanners to focus power on the shields. They are afraid of our remaining missiles." "Can we hit them?" "Not with missiles," Alex said. "We don't have many left. But I have an idea. I can spoof their sensors. I can make them see a massive missile launch coming from the north. They will turn their shields to face north. And the real attack will come from somewhere else." "Exactly," Alex said. "But we need a team to get close. We need someone to paint the target for us. If we can disable their bridge, the ship will fall." Sophie nodded. She knew who to call. "I will get Kenji and Ethan." Later that night, the leaders of the resistance gathered in the subway. It was a dangerous meeting, but it was necessary. Kenji looked at the map of the capital city. "The ship is huge. It casts a shadow over the entire downtown area." "We have one chance," Ethan said. He looked fierce. "We have to strike the main engines. If the engines go down, the gravity will pull it down." "We have to wait for the signal from Alex," Kenji said. "He will create the distraction. Then, we move." "I will lead the ground team," Jordan said. "We know the sewers. We can get right under them." "And I will provide cover fire," Noah said. "From the tallest building still standing." "It is a suicide mission," Leo said. He looked worried. "If we fail, they will destroy everything." "If we don't try, they will destroy everything anyway," Mina said sharply. "We have nothing left to lose." They looked at each other. They were just ordinary people. A few months ago, they were worrying about rent and jobs. Now, they were planning to bring down a starship. Alex stood up. "The operation starts in 2 hours. I will call it Operation Silent Thunder. Get to your positions. Good luck." The team broke up. They gathered their gear. They checked their weapons one last time. They hugged each other, knowing that some of them might not come back. Outside, the rain stopped. The sky cleared, revealing the massive silver shape of the Velari flagship. It hung low in the sky, blocking out the stars. It looked like a mountain of metal. Alex sat back in front of his screens. He took a deep breath. His hands hovered over the keys. "It's time," he whispered to himself. He typed the command. "Execute Silent Thunder." The screens flashed red as he uploaded the virus into the Velari network. High above, on the bridge of the flagship, alarms started to scream. "Incoming launch detected." A sensor officer shouted. "Multiple missiles detected from the north sector. It is a full-scale attack." High Exarch Varek stood up from his chair. "Shields to the north. Intercept them. The massive ship turned slowly. Its glowing blue shields shifted direction, pointing all their defensive power toward the north. The ship prepared to fire its main cannons. But there were no missiles coming from the north. It was a ghost signal, a lie created by Alex. Down in the city, in the shadows of the buildings, the real attack began. Jordan and his team emerged from a manhole cover right next to the ship's landing struts. They were small ants next to a giant metal boot. They set up heavy explosive charges. Kenji and Ethan stood on a rooftop, looking up at the exposed belly of the ship. The shields were facing the wrong way. The ship's soft underbelly was open. Fire! Ethan yelled. They launched their real missiles. Not big ones, but fast ones. They flew straight up and slammed into the engines of the flagship. Boom! 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 Fire exploded from the engines. The ship shuddered. It was huge, and the explosions were small, but they were in the right place. Direct hit. Kenji shouted into his radio. On the bridge, Varek was thrown to the floor. What is happening? I thought the attack was from the north. It was a trick. The commander screamed. We have been hacked. Engines 3 and 4 are failing. We are losing altitude. Stabilize the ship. Varek roared. But it was too late. The gravity of Earth grabbed the giant vessel. It began to sink. The humans on the ground watched in awe. The sky was falling. The invincible ship was coming down. But the war was not over. As the ship fell, the alien army on the ground went crazy. They realized they had been tricked. Thousands of Velari troops began to pour into the city, attacking everything in sight. They were angry, and they wanted revenge. The city is under attack. Leo shouted over the radio. They are swarming the streets. Hold your ground, Kenji said. This is what we wanted. They are out of the bunkers. They are in the open. Now, we hunt them. The battle for the city began. It was louder and more violent than anything before. The humans used the chaos to their advantage. They knew the streets. They knew the alleys. And tonight, they had the anger of a betrayed species on their side. The galaxy might have forgotten Earth, but tonight, Earth screamed. And the scream was loud enough to shake the stars. The silence was broken. The thunder had begun. The sky above the city was burning. The great Velari flagship, the Vindicator, was falling. Smoke and fire trailed from its engines as it dropped slowly toward the earth. It was a sight that no human thought they would ever see. The most powerful weapon in the galaxy was dying. But as the ship fell, the war on the ground got worse. The alien soldiers were angry. They were not fighting to conquer anymore, they were fighting to survive. They poured into the streets like a silver flood. They fired their weapons wildly at buildings. They burned houses. They were looking for the humans who had hurt them. In a secret underground hangar on the edge of the city, Lucas stood in front of a machine that looked like a dream. It was a fighter jet, but it was not like the old jets from the Air Force. This one was built in secret. It had stolen Velari parts mixed with human engineering. It was rough and ugly, with welding marks and scratched paint, but it had a powerful engine. Lucas put on his helmet. It was heavy and uncomfortable. He looked at the other pilots in the room. There were 12 of them. They were young, brave, and terrified. Among them was Maya. She was Lucas's wingman. She had a smile on her face, but her eyes were serious. "This is crazy, you know that," Maya said. She walked over to him. These things are barely held together. We are going to fly into a storm of alien lasers. Lucas nodded. I know. But if we don't go, they will destroy the city. The flagship is weak, Maya. It's losing power. If we hit it hard, we can finish it. I'm not scared of dying, Maya said. I'm scared of missing. We won't miss, Lucas said. We have surprise on our side. They think we have no air force. They think we are stuck on the ground. Lucas climbed into the cockpit. The seat smelled like new plastic and old sweat. He strapped himself in. The controls lit up in front of him. He felt the engine hum. It felt like a living beast waking up. This is Iron Rain leader to all units, Lucas said over the radio. Start your engines. One by one, the jets roared to life. The noise was deafening in the small hangar. The blast doors opened, revealing the dark sky above. Let's go show them what humans can do, Lucas said. The jets shot out of the mountain and into the sky. They moved fast, faster than any human plane had ever moved before. They climbed quickly, heading toward the falling flagship. High above, the Villery pilots were confused. Their ship was crashing, and they were trying to organize an evacuation. Suddenly, their radar screens filled with red dots. Alert! A Villery pilot shouted. Multiple bogies incoming. High velocity. They are human. Impossible, the flight commander said. Humans cannot fly in our atmosphere with this kind of speed. Suddenly, the sky lit up. Lucas and his squadrons were not flying in neat formations like the Villery. They were swarming. They flew like angry hornets, dodging and weaving. Brake left. Lucas shouted. A beam of blue energy shot past his wing. He rolled the ship and fired back. His guns sent a stream of metal bullets into a Villery interceptor. The alien ship exploded. They have no shields against bullets. Maya yelled happily. They are too soft. The dogfight was chaotic. The humans were outnumbered, but they were unpredictable. The Villery pilots were used to flying in straight lines and calm space. The humans flew through clouds, between buildings, and under bridges. They used the city as a shield. But the flagship was still dangerous. Even as it fell, its automated defense turrets were firing. Lucas, the main cannon is turning. Maya shouted. It's aiming at the city center. Lucas looked down. He saw the blue glow of the cannon charging up. It was going to fire on the refugee shelter. No, Lucas said. We have to stop it. I can't get a clear shot. Maya cried. The angle is too bad. I'm going in, Lucas said. Cover me. Lucas, don't do it. Lucas pushed his throttle to the maximum. He pointed his nose straight down at the flagship. He was diving like a hawk. The air pressure shook the ship. The alarm in his cockpit screamed, "Pull up! Pull up!" "Hold on," Lucas whispered. He fired every weapon he had. Missiles, bullets, everything. The storm of fire slammed into the side of the flagship, right into the cannon housing. There was a massive explosion. The cannon fired, but because of the damage, it missed. The beam shot up into space, harmless. But Lucas was too close to the explosion. The shock wave hit his ship. His left wing tore off. His engines died. Maya, I'm hit, Lucas said calmly. I'm going down. No. Maya screamed. Finish the mission, Maya, Lucas said. Finish the fight. Lucas's ship spiraled down toward the city. He ejected at the last second. His seat shot him out of the plane. He saw his plane crash into a park. He floated down under his parachute, smoke trailing from his suit. Maya watched him go. Tears filled her eyes, but she wiped them away. She turned her anger on the enemy. For Lucas, she yelled. She led the remaining jets in a final run, smashing the remaining defenders. While the air battle raged, the ground battle was even worse. Ethan and his wolf pack were trapped in an industrial park. The Velari troops were everywhere. "We are surrounded," Leo shouted. He was firing his machine gun, but the aliens were using energy shields now. They were adapting. "Keep firing," Ethan yelled. "Don't let them get close." Mina was reloading her rifle. She looked at the alien line. They were organized. They were walking forward, shooting as they moved. It was like a wall of blue death. "They are pushing us back," Mina said. "We need to fall back." "No," Ethan said. "If we fall back, they reach the bunker. We hold here." Suddenly, a strange sound filled the air. It was a buzzing noise. Then, explosions started happening among the alien troops, but they weren't human explosions. They were coming from inside the alien lines. "What is that?" Leo asked. Ethan looked closer. He saw small mechanical things flying around. They were like bugs. They were attaching themselves to the aliens and exploding. "It's Harper," Ethan said. "She built drones." From a nearby rooftop, Harper was controlling her creations. She had built little kamikaze drones out of spare parts. She was using a tablet to fly them into the aliens. She was sweating and shaking, but she didn't stop. "Got you," she whispered as she guided a drone into a Velari commander's backpack. Boom. The confusion in the alien ranks gave Ethan the chance he needed. "Charge!" Ethan screamed. He jumped over the barricade and ran toward the aliens. His team followed him. They met the enemy in the middle of the smoke and fire. It was hand-to-hand combat. It was brutal. The humans used knives, bats, and their bare hands. They fought with a desperation that terrified the aliens. The Velari soldiers were strong and had good armor, but they were not used to this kind of close violence. Humans fought dirty. They bit. They threw sand in their eyes. They targeted the weak points in the armor. Ethan tackled a large alien soldier. He ripped the helmet off and punched the alien in the face. The alien fell back, surprised. Ethan didn't stop. He kept fighting until the alien stopped moving. When the dust settled, the industrial park was quiet. The aliens were retreating. The humans stood among the wreckage, breathing hard. They were bloody and bruised, but they were still standing. A few miles away, near the crash site of the flagship, Kenji and Sophie were organizing a strange operation. The aliens had set up a perimeter around their wrecked ship. They were guarding it heavily. They thought the humans would try to attack the ship. "They are protecting the wreckage," Kenji said. "They think we want to destroy it." "We don't," Sophie said. "We want to capture it." They watched as a team led by Jordan moved through the sewers. They came up right behind the alien perimeter. "Use the nets," Jordan whispered. His team threw heavy, magnetic nets over the aliens who were guarding the rear entrance. The aliens were stuck. They couldn't move. Jordan and his team moved in. They didn't use guns this time. They used tranquilizer darts and shock batons. They wanted prisoners. They dragged 3 unconscious Villery soldiers into the sewer. Kenji was waiting there. "Good work," Kenji said. "Bring them to the interrogation room. We need to know their codes." The tide of the battle was turning. The flagship was down. The aliens were confused, and their soldiers were being captured. The Villery High Command had never experienced a defeat like this. They were used to winning quickly. This long, dirty war was breaking their spirit. High Exarch Varek sat in his emergency command bunker deep underground. He watched the screens. He saw his ships falling. He saw his soldiers dying. He saw humans fighting with a ferocity that scared him. A young officer walked into the room. The officer looked terrified. "Exarch," the officer stammered. "The 4th Division has surrendered. The humans, they captured the commander." Varek stood up. He slammed his fist on the table. "How can this be? We are the Villery. We are the masters of the galaxy." "Not anymore," a voice said over the intercom. It was Alex. He had hacked into their command channel again. "This is Earth Resistance," Alex said. "You invaded our home. You killed our people. But you made one mistake. You thought we were weak. You thought we would give up. But we are not weak. We are human. And we are coming for you." Varek sat back down in his chair. He looked at the map. The red dots of the human army were surrounding his blue dots. The balance of power had shifted. The aliens were no longer the hunters. They were the prey. The battle for the city ended with the sunrise. The sky was still dark with smoke, but the shooting had stopped. The humans held the city. The aliens were trapped in their ship or hiding in the outskirts. In the ruins of a hospital, Sophie was treating the wounded. The beds were full. But the people were smiling. They were alive. They had survived the night. Maya walked into the room. She was dirty and her flight suit was torn. She looked exhausted. "Did you find him?" Sophie asked gently. Maya shook her head. "Not yet. But I saw his parachute. He's out there." "He is tough," Sophie said. "He will come back." Maya nodded. She looked out the window at the crashed spaceship in the distance. "We hurt them today, Sophie. We really hurt them." "Yes," Sophie said. "But we have to be ready. The hardest part is still to come. They won't just leave." Noah stood on the roof of the building. He looked through his sniper scope, scanning the streets. He saw Villery soldiers dragging their dead. He saw them looking over their shoulders, fear in every movement. "They are afraid of us now," Noah whispered to himself. Good. The war had changed. It was no longer about survival. It was about victory. The humans had shown the galaxy that they could fight back. They had shown that even the strongest empire can bleed. The Iron Rain had fallen, and from the ashes, the human spirit rose up, harder and sharper than steel. The war did not end with a final battle. It ended with a silence that was loud enough to be heard across the stars. For 3 days after the battle for the city, the Villery ships did not move. They stayed in the sky, damaged and smoking, hovering like ghosts over the ruins. The humans on the ground did not attack them. They waited. They cleaned their weapons, they buried their dead, and they watched the sky. In the center of what used to be a large public square, Kenji and Mina stood on a platform made from the wreckage of an alien tank. The sun was setting, casting long shadows over the broken city. The air was cool, but the mood was hot with tension. Behind them, technicians were setting up a large communication array. It was a strange mix of human satellite dishes and alien technology stolen from the crashed flagship. Cables ran across the ground like black snakes. Alex was at the controls, typing furiously. His face was pale, and he had dark circles under his eyes. He had not slept since the battle. "Is it ready?" Kenji asked. He looked at the sky, where the silver shape of the Villery flagship still floated, low and crippled. "The uplink is established," Alex said. His voice was shaky. "I can broadcast to the entire sector. Not just to the fleet above us, but to the Galactic Council. I can reach everyone." "Do it," Mina said. She crossed her arms. She was still wearing her dirty combat armor. "It is time they heard the truth." Alex took a deep breath. He pressed a red button. The screens in front of him lit up. "Broadcasting in 3, 2, 1. Kenji stepped up to the microphone. He looked calm. He looked like a leader. He adjusted the mic and looked into the camera lens. "People of the galaxy," Kenji said. His voice echoed through the silent square and out into the universe. "I am Kenji of Earth. We speak to you today not as victims, but as survivors." Behind the camera, hundreds of human soldiers and civilians were watching. Ethan stood with his wolf pack. Jordan leaned against a wall, cleaning his knife. Sophie was bandaging a soldier's arm, looking up at the screen. Even Noah was there, standing in the shadows, his sniper rifle on his back. "You know us as a primitive species," Kenji continued. "The Villery Empire told you that we were weak. They told you that we would be easy to conquer. They were wrong." The screen changed to show footage of the war. It showed humans fighting in the mud. It showed the wolf pack attacking the convoy in the mountains. It showed the Iron Rain jets taking down the alien interceptors. It did not show glory. It showed pain, dirt, and endless struggle. "We did not have your technology," Kenji said. "We did not have your shields or your lasers. But we had something you did not expect. We had the will to fight. When you took our sky, we lived in the tunnels. When you burned our cities, we fought in the ruins. When you sent your ground troops, we hunted them in the dark." The footage shifted again. It showed the wreckage of the Villery flagship. It showed rows of captured alien soldiers. It showed humans helping each other rebuild a shattered wall. "You declared war on the wrong species," Kenji said, his voice hard as steel. "We are not afraid of death. We are not afraid of the dark. We are human. And we do not surrender." He paused for a moment, letting the silence speak for him. "To the Villery High Command," Kenji said. "Look at your ships. Look at your soldiers. You cannot win here. We are not a resource for you to use. We are a fortress. Leave our solar system now, and never return. Or stay, and become part of the graveyard we have built for you." Kenji stepped back. "Transmission complete." Alex cut the feed. He slumped back in his chair. "It is out there. The whole galaxy has heard us." In the deep silence of space, far away from Earth, the Galactic Council was watching. The Council was made up of the oldest and most powerful races in the universe. They had watched the invasion of Earth with cold indifference. To them, it was just another world being absorbed by the Villery Empire. But now, they were paying attention. They saw the human message. They saw a species that had been given a 0% chance of survival, yet refused to die. They saw creativity, cruelty, and brilliant adaptation. They saw a race that used scrap metal to destroy starships. In the council chambers, There was no cheering. There was only fear. The ancient races realized something terrifying: humanity was not a victim to be pitied. Humanity was a sleeping giant that had just woken up. High above Earth, on the bridge of the damaged Villery flagship, High Exarch Varek sat in his chair. He had watched the broadcast. He looked at the tactical map. Red lights were flashing everywhere. His forces were scattered. His supply lines were cut. His soldiers were too scared to leave their ships. He looked at the commander standing next to him. The commander looked pale. "Exarch," the commander said softly. "We have lost control of the surface. We have lost the air. And now, the galaxy is laughing at us." Varek closed his eyes. He was filled with a cold shame. He had destroyed his career. He had broken the perfect record of the Villery Empire. And all of it because of a bunch of primitives. "What are our options?" Varek asked. "We can retreat," the commander said. "We take the remaining ships and leave. We go back to the Empire and tell them that Earth is uninhabitable. Too dangerous to conquer." Varek looked at the image of the blue planet on the screen. It looked so peaceful from space, but he knew the hell that waited on the surface. "They will never forgive us," Varek whispered. "Better to live with shame than to die here," the commander said. Varek nodded slowly. He stood up. He straightened his robes. "Order the retreat," he said. "All ships, pull back. Abandon the ground troops if necessary. Just get us out of this system." The order was sent. Slowly, the great silver ships began to turn. Their engines glowed blue as they turned away from Earth. They turned away from the cities, from the mountains, and from the humans who had fought them to a standstill. In the city square, Alex was watching his monitor. "Kenji!" he shouted. "Look at the radar." Kenji and Mina rushed to the screen. They saw the blips moving. "They are leaving," Kenji said. "They are actually leaving." A cheer went up from the crowd. It started small, but it grew louder and louder. People hugged each other. Soldiers dropped their rifles and fell to their knees. Ethan let out a whoop of joy and slapped Leo on the back. Maya wiped a tear from her eye, looking up at the sky. But not everyone celebrated. Noah stood on a rooftop, looking at the retreating ships through his binoculars. He did not cheer. He just watched. "They are running," Noah said to himself. "Good." He stood on the edge of the building, the wind blowing his hair. He remembered the first day of the war. He remembered being scared, hiding in the bunker. He remembered the friends he had lost. He remembered the silence. He looked down at the city. It was destroyed. Buildings were just skeletons of concrete. The streets were full of rubble. But people were coming out of the shadows. They were lighting fires in the dark. They were helping each other. They were alive. Noah picked up his rifle. He slung it over his shoulder. He didn't need it right now, but he kept it close. The war was over, but the galaxy had changed. Harper walked up the stairs to the roof. She stood next to Noah. She looked up at the sky. The silver dots were getting smaller. "It's over," she said. "For now," Noah said. He looked at her. "They will be back one day. Or someone else will come." "Maybe," Harper said. "But let them come. Now they know what we are." Noah nodded. "Yeah. They will never forget." The sun finally set. The stars came out. For the first time in months, the humans of Earth looked up at the stars without fear. They didn't see invaders. They saw a destination. Kenji found his way to the top of a tall tower with Mina and Alex. They stood together, looking out over their city. It was a ruin, but it was their home. "What do we do now?" Mina asked. "The war is done. We rebuild," Kenji said. "We take the technology they left behind. We use it to make Earth stronger. We teach the galaxy that you cannot mess with us." "And if they come back?" Alex asked. Kenji smiled. "Then we will be ready." The wind blew across the rooftops. The flags of the resistance, simple pieces of cloth with handmade symbols, fluttered in the breeze. Far away, the Velari ships jumped into hyperspace, vanishing from the solar system. They carried with them the memory of the war. They carried the story of the species that refused to die. The message was simple, and it echoed across the void of space. Earth was not a planet to be conquered. It was a world of warriors. It was a world of survivors. And the galaxy would never forget.